Yo, what's up, you guys? As promised, I'll back with the Shaman updated Shaman guide for 9.1.5. We had 50 subs, so it's time. And yeah, let's get going. So first up, we are talking about Covenant and Soulbinds. There's only really one choice that you can go after as Rest Shaman as of right now, and it's Necrolord. I'm playing the first three, Plague Divisor, Marilev. As it comes to conduits, you're pretty much playing the same build every single game. It's gonna be a Swirling Currents to as your first potency conduit, and then Condense Animus Bear, Embrace of Earth, Vital Accretion, Tumbling Waves, and Refreshing Waters, and that's basically it. You mainly want to play Necrolord because of the shield, and you can also absorb CC with this. And the primary waves are also pretty good. You can do a lot of nice juicy heals with that, increased healing waves. But yeah, that's about Covenants and Soulbinds. Let's talk about talents and PvP talents. So there we actually don't have a lot of variation either. You're pretty much always going to play Unleash Life, Echo of the Elements, Earthgrab Totem, Ardon Wall Totem, Grace of Spirit, Flash of Flute, and Descendants is going to be your default build. And I mean, we have two changes we could adjust. We can change Earthgrab Totem for Spirit Wolf Totem. If you're playing against Melee Thief, maybe it's worth, you would have to try around with this. You can play Spirit Wolf and then remove Grounding for Spectral Recovery and play like a Wolf build where you just run around the pillar. Might work, it's not that bad. And then you can also play Nature's Guardian into Red Warrior. I would actually play this. I would prefer Nature's Guardian into Red Warrior and things that can actually kill you. But if the enemy has a priest on their team, definitely want to go with Rest of Spirit, and that's why I'm having it as a default choice, because you might forget it. You might forget to swap it out against a priest, and then you're dead in the mind games. But yeah, that's it about talents. PvP talents, we got a lot more choice here. Default pick would be something looking like this. Playing Grounding Totem, always playing Living Tide. This talent is absolutely insane. It is increasing the healing number of Healing Tide Totem by a lot. But you will see, like, the thing about Healing Tide Totem is you have to place it always somewhere where the enemies cannot kill it insta, because if they see it, they are gonna rush to it and kill it every single time because it does so much healing. It's actually worth to do so. Grounding Totem should be normally your choice. You can change this for Spectral Recovery or Spirit Wolf if the enemy is deciding to go on you, but normally I would play Grounding Totem. And as third talent, I like to play Aura Mastery, but you can change this for Unleashed Shields. Unleashed Shields is a little bit of a funky mechanic in my opinion, like you have to get used to it. And it's a lot better if you play against something like setup comps, like TSG for example. If you're playing against DK, against Red Warrior, if a cleave is stacking on you, you can just pull them and stay in the pool, and everything gets reduced by 50%. Like damage and healing is reduced by 50%, so it's pretty brutal actually. But I think, and I mean, in some 2v2 matchups, Voodoo Mastery might be the play actually. And Swelling Waves could be also something that you can try out, but usually I would stick to Aura Mastery. Maybe change this out for Unleashed Shields, and then if they are training you, I would play something like this probably. This would be my spec. I would be playing into Red Warrior, I think actually. But yeah, that's about PvP talents and talents. Next up, really quick about stats and gear. So you want to stack as much Versa Mastery as you can get. You actually want to buy the full Mastery ring and enchant everything with Mastery. It's gonna increase healing them by a ton, and yeah, it's gonna, like, overall it's your best stat actually. Like, why Mastery? Because as a shaman, your biggest, or like your most healing will be coming from your Riptide actually spamming instants. So if you have a lot of Mastery, it's gonna top everyone with one Riptide and shit. It's like really fun actually. It's really good. So get as much Mastery as you can get. And on top of that, you wanna have two legendaries. You wanna have the Earth Elemental legendary, like the Drain Rock Johnson. This will be your offensive choice if you're playing against RMP or something where you want quick games and wanna blast someone. And then you also want to have this defensive legendary, which is Chestplate of the Advent Harmony. It is basically increasing healing done by your Herb Shield by a ton, and so you get a little bit of more extra healing and get into the dampening phase, and to kill someone. As it comes to comps, I would recommend Red Warrior, DH Boomy, and yeah, that's about it. Like, those are the two comps I would really recommend as Shaman, if you want to go for that high rating. And yeah, now it's time to get into the good part and talk about some gameplay. Okay, so it's time for our first game. We're playing DH Boomkin into jungle, and this is being played on about 3k MMR, so not that low. I'm playing the fairly standard build, like as you can see, nothing special, as I told you, like the build I was playing in the beginning. You might want to swap around with trying Spectral Recovery actually into jungle, because they might train you, as you will see in this game, that the enemy jungle will just train me, and I have to survive this. So here, the first go is happening, and it's getting a little bit messy. I don't really use anything besides BM, and my peels, and my team peeled me a bit there, so that's fine. The Feral actually trinketed. And yeah, like sometimes peels are enough from your team and you don't have to use anything, but it really depends. Like, I don't think there's a script anymore that you can follow, like like it as it was with A, and it's all very situational, and you have to decide from situations to situations. Actually, kind of fun if you ask me. So here, be careful. Like right there, the priest actually went for a fear on me and he got it. So that was quite, yeah, it was like quite dangerous, because then like we all got feared from the priest and they made a go on me. So my DH had to trinket darkness me, and then it wasn't enough, so my boomkin decided to trinket as well. But we survived that go, and our goal as a team is to kill this enemy hunter here. Yeah? We're just training him. I am not sure if I'm playing Earth Ally or Earth Shield. I'm not completely sure, because my Earth Ally doesn't have Earthquake attached to this seam, but this might be bugged too. So as you can see, I'm just kiting around the pillar here and doing nothing really, doing nothing special really. It's just about lining the priest essentially to not get mind games on the go, like lining his damage on top of it. But yeah, just about for you in this matchup is to survive. But I mean, this is when they go on you. There's a lot of tactics. They can also go on the boomkin, and it's going to look a lot different. But here we do another go on the hunter. You can also assist, as you just saw. You can also assist with a restun of your cap totem on your goes. So that works as well. As you can see, we just train the hunter, and yeah, fast game. He goes down. But yeah, I mean, in that regard, like many teams will actually, like if you're playing DH Bunker, many teams will try to kill you, so you gotta make sure that you have your pillar always and run around it. But also don't forget that you have teammates, and you gotta play with your teammates, so you have to be in range to them or in LS to them, so they can shrink it and peel you, right? So yeah, be aware of that. Okay. Alright, that's gonna be our next game. We are going to play against Turbo here, also with the same comp, DH Boomy. I will recommend this comp to everybody who's new to Shaman, and especially as of right now, this comp is really broken. It's one of the best comps in the game, and you should definitely give it a go. You can also play Red Warrior, but there's not a lot of reds in the game, so yeah. But either Red Warrior or DH Boomkin. So into this matchup, what they're trying to do is basically just train you down. This is going to happen a lot of the times if you face like mini cleaves, that they will just go for your healer, because they cannot really kill the Boomkin or the DH either. And so yeah, here's the first go. As you can see, the Shaman popped his Doomans, and the Warrior's popping some damage as well, as Colossus Smash came out. So I was deciding to wall that early on, and it should be okay. Maybe BM on top, and now you will just see that I just run around with Aura Mastery here, and your goal is to line the Warrior as much as you can. The Shaman doesn't really matter as much. He's not doing that much damage outside Doomans, so you can tank him. It doesn't really matter, but you don't want to tank the Warrior, because his damage is like consistent, and he can actually kill you all the time if you don't kite it properly. And usually I found a build which I played earlier, or like which I played later in the sessions we had, and it's going to be replacing Earthbound Grab Totem for Spectral Wolf. And there's also this one PvP talent you can play. And what this does is basically increasing your movement speed and damage being reduced, and it heals you in Wolf. So you might want to go for that, because roots, in that case, the Warrior is just going to dispel his roots, and the Resto is dispelling the roots on the Shaman, so it's a little bit useless to play that. And as you can see here, it's really important to track the enemy kicks, because you also play Necrolord, and a lot of the times Fleshcraft is something that will save your ass, so be aware of that. Be aware of the enemy kicks and the lockouts. You can bait, like, for example, if the shaman kicked already something else, like a clone or something, then the warriors only kick, right? So you can cast a healing surge, and if he kicks you can cast insta flashcraft, and so you're fine. But as you can just see, like the gameplay will look like this. Like you will just run around the pillar and try to LOS the warrior as much as you can get, as much as you can. So they got another go here with a Stormbolt on me. The warrior just, but they didn't really pop anything, so it was fine. Feared offensively actually, so this can get a little bit of trouble. But here in this scenario, the root totem was a little bit. I mean, it didn't really do anything. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I rooted them, the warrior insta blade storm, and he dispelled the enemy. He dispelled the enhancer, so they were insta back on my ass. And there was a little bit of trouble here. We have to trade darkness, so you gotta make sure that you play with the team and stay into it, of course. And of course, if you can, stop the clones. Like if you play grounding and if you play shear, stop the clones. Really important that you can keep your team aggressive. But yeah, I mean the gameplay looks a bit cheesy, you know, just running around the pillar. But I mean that's how it goes. Like that's how you have to play it, especially like if they're training you, and this will look very familiar. Like honestly, I think I'm even playing it a little bit wrong. There's this build I was telling you about earlier with the water pool, right, with the puddle, and you can actually throw that onto the shaman in the go, and they will do, and it annihilates any damage they will do to you. So I would actually play around that, but yeah, I haven't really do it either. You can play either the puddle or play it like me, where I just run. I usually prefer this playstyle because I'm like a Mistweaver main, and as a Mistweaver main, you're just running all game basically. But maybe it's actually better to play puddle and just counter go basically with that, because it actually, like 50% less damage is actually insane. But yeah, as you can see, I'm just running around the pillar using my Aura Mastery to cast. They have 2 kicks, and just making sure that I just line the enemy warrior and giving my team essentially enough time to kill them. But against Turbo it's going to be a dampener, and that's for sure. So here they kicked me out. I used my Erlen Totem and wall. The wall was not necessary. They didn't pop Doomans or Colossal Smash. They didn't really have damage there. Was kind of unnecessary. But here's Doomans, and this is going to be a little bit of trouble. Here, as you can see, I'm going to spam Root Totem, but doesn't really do anything. But my teammates P me, and it should be okay. Doomans is over now. It's also really important that you track Doomans here with some sort of, like I use Omnibuff for example, the Jax version, but you can use Doomans as well, like a week over as well. But it's really important that you can track here. I almost died, but yeah, I got lucky. My Druid Roars them, gave me enough time to heal myself. But I'm still not out of danger actually. Almost died there again. This is gonna happen probably a lot of the times. But you have to keep going and have to keep trying, basically. So here I'm going for heal. I'm lining both of the enemy DPS. Should be alright. We force parry out of the warrior. So your goal as a team is to basically do as much damage as you can get. You preferably want to kill the enhancement shaman, but if he's using defensives, like his heals, or if he's getting haunted by the druid with scenario rod, you can swap on the warrior and get a lucky kill on him as well. Like you can definitely kill anything with the HP. As you can see, I'm just running around the pillar trying to get as max range as I can get, but you don't want to like cross the map. You want to stay close to your team so they can peel off to you. You don't just run away from them, and your team will also lose a lot of damage. So here the thing is against Turbo, this is also one tip I can give you. Your like your DH will eventually trinket for you, right? So this will give the enemy Turbo an opening to swap on your DH. This happened to us one game as well, where they swap on my DH and kill him with 1 Doomans and Chain Harvest, I think. So you gotta make sure that that doesn't happen and you pre-heal him. Like here right now, this is a scary moment, but my Druid peeled for him with a Bash and a Clone and an enemy Shaman, so he was fine. I'm gonna heal him now, and yeah, we are out of trouble. But as you can see, against Turbo, it's a long dampener game actually. So this is what I'm talking about. I got locked out on my healing surge, and I had Flashcraft available, so I was using that instead, so I'm ultra fine. Annihilated a lot of damage with that shield. But yeah, as you can see, it's going to be a dampener against Turbo. I mean, there isn't a lot of Turbos on the ladder, but essentially what you will be having to do is to just survive and giving your team enough time. But yeah, I mean, so this is going to be our last gameplay for this guide. We are playing DH Boomy against Rogue Mage Priest. Interesting matchup. And the way you're going to have to play this is ultra aggressively. You want to finish the game as quickly as possible, because if the enemy RMP gets more than like 3 to 4 goals, you're dead. Because you cannot rotate properly and at the state of RMP as it is right now, and it's going to be tricky sometimes. I mean, you can go into dampening. If they fuck up a bit, then you rotate pretty well, but usually you want to play aggressively with Erdan, with Drain the Rock, and just tunnel down the mage. And I think that's what we are going to do in this matchup as well. So here in the opener, you want to make sure that you pre-hot and pre-Erdan shield. I should have flash crafted actually, so that was my bad. And they got the perfect opener. You want to make sure that you have your Earthfiller out as soon as you can get, and you want to get in fight. The reason why you want to have Earthfiller out, so the rogue cannot sap you out of the blind. But he couldn't get it anyways because we stunned him. But yeah, now you will see that we just tunnel this enemy mage down, and your goal as a shaman is to lock down the enemy mages as much as you can do, like with grounding and shear basically. And you can see as we are just running him down, and we're trying to purge off all his buffs, like especially Altar. And here I'm gonna flash craft the poly, so it should be okay. My DH tank the sap there. The game can get quite messy as well, but you have to be like, you have to focus on your own gameplay a bit and see what's going on. And this was a little bit of a trouble go, but was okay there. We traded our DH trinket with a reverse onto my boomkin on the shackles. On the combustion, so it was okay. And now I sheared the enemy holy priest. So as you can see, like, we are pushing as a unit on the enemy team. Our goal is basically to go on a mage as much as possible and pressure him down. But we can also do random goes on the enemy boomkin. So here, big overlap, big fucking overlap. My Boomy trinketed and frenzied, and on top of that, I trinketed Link on top too. So yeah, pretty awful if you ask me. But as you can see, we're just trying to run down this mage here, and also make sure that you, as you can see, like, try to hold the enemy rogue in the fight if you can do. Like, you don't want to let him restep for free basically. So yeah, this is a mistake by us. We shouldn't run like this. We should be on the mage constantly, because this gives them the opportunity to actually reset, and then they got the double fear on top of it with a perfect go. And so this is going to be another mistake. My DH went for darkness. This darkness was essentially useless, because they haven't popped anything, and he should have just reversed me. So yeah, this is pretty much GG for us, as you can see in a bit. Like, you can already tell if a game is over against RMP if you're like a little bit familiar with the gameplay, because now we don't have any trinkets left, we don't have any darkness left. It's basically over. They got combustion coming up in 10 seconds, and we have nothing. And if they get a perfect go, it's over for us. So what's going to, and they have blind on top. So yeah, they're just going to blind me, kidney, fear my DH, and it's going to be GG. So yeah. Really gotta make sure into RMP that you rotate your trinkets really. I would give, as a general rule, I would say that into RMP you want to make sure that on the first go, the one who trinkets is going to be that is the one who is in trouble. And I mean, essentially it doesn't really matter who trinkets, but you don't wanna overlap trinkets. Like, that's what it's about. Like, playing into RMP. Just don't overlap trinkets. You're gonna make sure that you are playing Drain the Rock and press it down the mage as much as you can get. You wanna play hardcore aggressive onto them. You wanna make sure that you keep the rogue in combat. And you wanna make sure that you purge off altars. And maybe shear some heals, shear some winning heals as well. You don't wanna shear random heals, but those winning heals. Because normally you wanna normally you wanna stop polys and such things. And in terms of trinket usage, into, like, normally you can play shackles a lot of the time because you won't be the target, but into Turbo, for example, into Red Warrior and into RMP, I would play Emblem for sure. But yeah, that's going to be it for that's going to be it for the gameplay section. Alright guys, that's going to be it for the Resto Shaman guide for 9.1.5. We had our sub goal of 50, and yeah, as promised, here's the guide. I will be doing a lot more content in the future, and if you want, you can check out my stream at twitch.tv/aubreyxth. Yeah, I will be definitely attempting rank 1 on my shaman this season. Very much stays in the stars if I will get it or not. I'm either gonna play Red Warrior or DH Vulcan, and yeah, I mean, it's just about having fun with the community essentially. I don't really care about it. Like, what does, like, guys, I know rank 1 and Gladiator's cool and shit, but it doesn't really matter. Like, what's about is like the road and having fun with the community and learning, right? Having fun. And yeah, if you're interested in my UI, it's available for subs, and I see you guys in the next one. Peace out.